Hey, what is going on, guys? Greg Jenkins here from Monkeypod Marketing, coming to you not live, recorded from the Monkeypod Worldwide headquarters, aka my backyard here in San Diego. So this video is going to cover 11 steps that I think are going to be valuable for helping you launch an online course. And the reason for this video is, well, it's because I think it'll be valuable, but also because I have noticed a trend over the last couple of years, and of course over the last couple of weeks, toward online and online learning and digital education in general. So because I have launched a handful of courses for Monkeypod, I thought I would package up and share some of the lessons I have learned. I have a checklist here with 11 steps that I'm going to run through, and it started as a sort of off-the-cuff response in a Facebook group to somebody who asked about launching an online course, and I just started writing. Step 1, do this. Step 2, step 3, step 4, and I got 11 steps, and I clicked submit, and I didn't really give it a second thought. And then there were a couple of responses to that post who said that was really valuable, and I thought, okay, well, why don't I, formalize this a bit more and share it a little bit more broadly? And so that's the purpose of this video. But before we dive into the steps, I should point out that, number one, I get plenty of stuff wrong. So these are my tips and my advice, but you certainly may find, that my methodology doesn't jive with your process, or that you learned something else somewhere that makes more sense. And so feel free to pick and choose the pieces of this video that are valuable to you. And the second thing I want to say is that these 11 steps, I don't mean for this to sound like a simple, checklist that you just run through and you're done. It's not a silver bullet. It's not a tried and true system. It's just a framework that I think will point you in the right direction. Because I fully acknowledge that some of these bullet points could be a video, onto themselves, could be a week's worth of work just in that one step. So I don't want to I don't want to do anyone a disservice by making this sound like it's going to be a lot easier than it is. So without any further ado, let's jump into the checklist. So the first step here, the first item on this 11-step checklist is to get clear on the topic of your course. And the way that I recommend doing that is by addressing and thinking about what the pain point is that it is solving, right? What is the problem that people will have that leads them to your course, right? So of course you might already have this, right? If you are an expert in a specific topic or a specific tool or some discipline that you know what you want to teach, then you probably already have this. But the second half of this conversation is to also answer, like, what is the problem that people will have that is going to lead them to this course? And the reason I recommend focusing on that is because it will inform the marketing and messaging that you ultimately are going to create when you want to drive people to this course and help them find it. So the second step here is to describe your audience, is to get clear on who those people are that have that problem. This is a customer avatar exercise, so if you have been in the marketing space for a while, odds are you have heard that term, but it's really just thinking through, like, who is the person or people that this course will best serve, right? And you could have multiple avatars, or you might only have one, but the clearer you can be on who that person is, where they hang out, what characteristics you know about them, the easier it will be to craft the content that that can be most valuable for them, or that will resonate with them the most, right? So it's important both to get clear on that up front, because it'll help inform your content, but also, again, this will ultimately play a big part in designing the marketing strategy to help you successfully launch and then promote this course over time as well. Okay, so step 3 is to get clear on the curriculum for the course. So if you think about the topic or the subject that you are teaching, break it down into the individual sections that you want to teach, and start to assign those to your different modules of the course, right? So if you know that the course is about the campaign builder, right? Like that's one of my courses. Well, what are all of the things that somebody is going to need in order to learn the campaign builder? And my move is to make an Excel spreadsheet and to just list them in really granular fashion, one by one, each in its own row, and then start to group them together. Start to assign, hey, these 2 topics go together, or these 3 can go in a video because they're all related, right? And a rule of thumb for designing the curriculum of your course is to plan on having more modules that are shorter, right? When I first started creating courses for Monkeypod, I was thinking of it as a presentation, right? I had come from mostly doing live classroom style training. And so my mentality was these presentations are going to be 60 or 90 minutes or 2 hours long. And I thought I was doing a service to my audience by mimicking the live version. But what I found is that the way people consume virtual or digital training is not how they like to consume live training. So I trend towards much smaller, much shorter video modules, 1 topic or 2 per module, just so that they can stay hyper-focused. And the logic behind this, as you might imagine, is similar to when you are reading a book that has short chapters, right? If you read a chapter and it was short and you feel like, hey, that was easy, then you're more likely to do the next chapter. But if it was long and it was, really heavy or really dense, your brain might need a little bit of a break before you move on to the next chapter. So think about that when you are designing your course curriculum as well. What are the topics that need to be covered? What order makes sense to cover them? And trend toward smaller, more focused modules. That is the advice I have there. So this topic, this process, it could take a couple of days to get clear on all of the things that are involved in your course curriculum. But what you should wind up with is a plan of action for actually recording it. Hey, these modules are going to be, video 1. These topics are going to be video 2. Start to organize the outline for how you want your course to be consumed, and then that will inform the process for actually recording the content. Okay, so step 4 is to design the launch strategy and the wait list for your course. And I know that this might feel a little bit premature because you haven't yet come up with the actual content, you haven't created the course yet, but here's why I recommend doing this now. As you are recording the course content, as you are building out the platform that's going to deliver it or designing the automation, I'm going to encourage you to post updates regularly to your different social channels, right? And if you're going to talk about the production of this course during the process of creating it, then it makes a lot of sense to have a call to action ready for people who inevitably will say, hey, I want that, right? Let me know when it's live. And rather than letting people post that on your various updates and then having to manually follow up with them, I recommend creating a wait list for them, a landing page that just talks about the course a little bit, maybe even shares the outline that you're planning to produce, and gives a teaser of when it will be ready or the price point or whatever you feel comfortable sharing, and gives them an opportunity to sign up, be added to your database. And you don't need to have a full-on automated experience ready for them, but just really a tag so that this audience has expressed interest, and when it comes time to launch, you can follow up with them. Now, this may go without saying, but I don't recommend recording your course while there are helicopters flying immediately overhead. But as most small business owners know, distractions are sort of inevitable, and this is the nature of recording content from my backyard here. Okay, so step 5 is to record and edit the course content, right? So take the outline that you created and just record one video at a time. I add a column to my Excel spreadsheet with those modules, and I mark things as planned, working, or done, right? And they're all planned at first, and then they go to working when I have started the recording, and then they go to done when I have finished the editing, okay? So I don't think you need to overthink this part. I know that there are an infinite number of ways to make a more expensive and professionally produced course, but here is my best practice, and I'll invite you to steal my setup as well. I have a tripod. On top of the tripod, I have a cell phone holder, and I record most of my content with my Samsung Galaxy phone. If you have an iPhone or an Android phone, odds are the camera is plenty capable that the quality is going to be just fine for you. I use a lapel mic. You can see I've got it clipped onto my shirt here that just plugs into the auxiliary port on my phone, but you could easily just use the microphone on your phone to capture your audio as long as it's not too windy or you don't have helicopters flying overhead. So I record all my content here. I upload it from my phone to Google Drive. I download it onto my computer from Google Drive, and then I edit using Camtasia. If there is screen capture, right? Because I do a lot of software training, so if you need screen capture, you can do that using your editing software. I use Camtasia, but some people use Final Pro or Final Cut, I think, is another software. There's plenty of tools out there. You can use whatever makes the most sense for you. Or you can record screen capture using QuickTime. QuickTime is another one that most Windows and Mac users have access to, and it can record screen capture as well. But my point is, it doesn't need to be overly professional. It doesn't need to be expensive, right? You can make a light and lean version of your course in order to get it out there, start serving, start learning, and then you can make plans for how you would like to improve it in the future. But like I said, don't let perfection get in the way of progress. Just make a list of things you plan to improve over time. Okay, so step 6 here is to map out the course delivery and the fulfillment process that goes along with it. So there are 2 aspects of this. The course delivery is I want you to think through and design, how will this course be consumed, right? Like, is it in a membership area? Okay, great. Is it on one page, or is it one video per page, right? Draw out what you think this should look like, either on paper or on a whiteboard or using, an app that allows you to sort of map things out, but get clear on what you visualize. And the reason I think that's important is because it's going to inform the technology and tools that you use in order to execute that, right? So by drawing it out or mapping it out, it's going to force you to take that vision that might be sort of nebulous in your mind and make it a little bit more concrete. This will set you up for success if you are building it, or if you're hiring someone to help with that process, it'll also make their life a lot easier, reduce the opportunity for miscommunication or for scope creep on a project that you're going to be bringing in multiple hands to. So in addition to the actual website, the actual course delivery, I want you to think through the automation that might need to take place concurrently, right? So if somebody's going to buy, right, where does that purchase take place? Do you have a merchant account set up, right? Hopefully this isn't your first product. You've probably sold something online before, so a lot of this might be second nature to you, but if this is all brand new, then these are conversations and questions you need to be having, right? And then once they buy, what happens next, right? If the course is hosted in a membership area, how is it unlocked? Are there permissions that need to be assigned? Are the modules going to be released over time, or do they get access to it all at once, right? Think through the actual experience that you want to have happen for somebody who is going through this course, and then design the automation that's going to support and enhance that experience, right? Obviously, there should be some sort of initial welcome email with access instructions, with their login and credentials and where to go to start the course, but then how regularly do you touch base with them? Do they get another email 3 days later or 5 days later? Are there bonus modules that are unlocked, right? Think through exactly what it is on a granular level that you would like to have your customer or your student experience as they are participating in your course. Okay, so step 7 here is to build the site, upload the content, and to design the automation or build rather the automation that goes along with it, right? And I fully recognize that I just said 3 quick things and it could be a mountain of work. So I don't want to diminish the amount of effort that this step actually takes. Somebody has to construct that site. So take the vision that you laid out, somebody has to go and actually design and build that, whether it's a WordPress site or a Kajabi site or some other another website builder. Somebody has to actually make it happen, right? And if that is you, then, so be it. But this is also an opportunity to bring in an expert who does that for a living. If you have a clear vision of what you want your site to look like and you have your content created, somebody else can set up the framework and drop your content into the appropriate places. And of course, the clearer you are in your vision, the more expediently they'll be able to do that. But don't be shy about asking for help here. This is the type of thing that some people specialize in. It is a big undertaking, so I have seen plenty of projects go off the rails because somebody tried to wear too many hats when they should have just leveraged the contractor who does that one thing. I will say this. If you are looking for recommendations as far as the tool or technology that you might use in this particular stage, I built my membership website on Access Ally, which is a WordPress plugin. It is incredibly robust and flexible, and it does integrate with Infusionsoft, which of course I love. But I did a project more recently where I built a membership area for an online course through Kajabi. And I was actually pretty impressed with Kajabi. I had never used it. I don't think it's quite as flexible as Access Ally, but I did find it to be a little more straightforward in terms of getting something up and live. So Kajabi is a self-hosted builder. The landing pages are all in-house, and the video hosting is included as well. So if you're looking for a little more of a plug-and-play solution, then Kajabi might be worth a look as well. So once you have your website built and you have the content dropped in, or maybe while that is underway, the second part here, or maybe it's the third, I've lost track, is to design the automation, right? Build out the actual automation that is going to unlock this course, that'll deliver access, and will follow up and create the experience you want your students to have. If you're using Infusionsoft, this will be a campaign or a series of campaigns, and it has to be built by someone. Right? Now, that someone doesn't have to be you. So if you feel really good about the vision you've mapped out, but you don't feel so good about your ability to bring it to life, this is another opportunity where you could tap a contractor or a consultant to step in and help make your vision a reality. But one way or another, it has to get done. So I would recommend deciding whether that is something you have appetite for, or if it's an opportunity to use, somebody who does that for a living to take one more thing off your plate. So the next step, step number 8 here, is to test thoroughly. And this probably goes without saying, but the reason I have it called out as its own step is I just, as much as I fancy myself an automation expert, I can't count the number of times I have been burned by either not testing or not testing thoroughly enough. So what I'm talking about here is test every step of the equation, right? Test the actual transaction, test whether or not the course content is unlocked, whether your permissions work. If you have objectives along the way, test completing each of those. Watch the content in the order that you think your customers will go through. Simulate the experience that you expect them to have, and make sure that it matches up with what you outlined, right? This is a whole world unto itself, and it's called customer experience, right? And designing the experience you expect your customers to have is a big part of what sets certain brands apart from others. Is the thing that's going to happen should not be a surprise, right? If you designed the experience and the automation executes on it, then you should have predictable and scalable results happening that produce, overall positive experiences for your customers. Okay, so I think some of you probably caught on to this, but I don't think I called it out explicitly, so I want to be clear here. The whole reason for setting up a waitlist page early on is so that you can continually drive people to that waitlist as you post updates at each step along the way. So as you are recording modules, or as you are editing the modules, or as you are building the site or building the automation, you should also be talking about your progress on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitter, right? Or to your YouTube channel, right? You should be talking about it to begin planting that seed, so that people who are interested, by the time you announce it, have already made up their mind that this is something that they want. If you keep this course a secret, And then when you go to launch, you have to start the conversation from scratch. But if you start talking about it much earlier in the process, it might feel a little uncomfortable because it's not done, it's not ready, right? But what it will do is build excitement, build interest, and it will give people time to think about how that course would serve them, so that when it comes time to launch, you aren't starting from square one, you've got a running start, and some people may have already made up their mind that it is for them. So I recommend, even if it feels uncomfortable, posting regular updates throughout the process of creating the course and driving people to that wait list so you have a group of people who are interested when it comes time to launch. Okay, step number 9 here, and this is another one that may go without saying, but it is to design a survey or design a feedback loop so you know how the course is producing, how it's performing, and how your students are experiencing it, right? So launching the course is hard enough on its own. I totally get that. Creating the content, building the membership site, designing the automation, all of that is a lot of work. I get that. But I think once you get it live, it will be really important to have a feedback loop in place so you know, is it working? What did I miss? And to also capture testimonials from people who really love the content you put out. The reason I think that is so important is because those testimonials become your marketing tool that drive the next wave of course participants. So by planning that feedback loop early on in your first iteration of the course, you are setting yourself up to scale this thing to the next level. The last thing you want is to launch it, maybe get a few sales, and then have crickets for the following weeks or months because you didn't have any plan for how to get momentum behind it after it was live. So design that feedback loop. It could be really simple. 30 days after they start the course, you send them an email asking them how it's going, asking what progress they've made, or it could be a little more involved. Depending on what you use to build the membership platform, you should be able to measure their progress or gauge, how far they've come. And my recommendation would be, when you know they've reached a certain milestone in the course, is to touch base with them and ask, hey, where were you when you started and where are you today? And that progress, that transformation, is what becomes your marketing material moving forward. Step number 10 here is to design a strategy that will make your customers feel supported both during and after the course, right? And so I think automation is the backbone here, and it will probably do most of the heavy lifting for you, right? It'll unlock the course, it'll deliver their access, it'll deliver the survey, right? So automation should do the majority of the work for us here, but I don't want you to be surprised if you get several dozen or 100 people into this course and a portion of them are struggling with something, right? Whether it's comments not working, or maybe they had trouble logging in, or they lost their password, or they need to update their email because they had a typo, or their payment didn't go through, right? There should be some amount of people who just need a little extra attention. And I want to recommend carving out the time or creating a plan before it becomes an issue, so you can proactively have a solution in place to make them feel supported. And then also coming out of the course, right? Design what you'd like to have happen when they are done. As valuable as you probably, believe your content to be, there may be something more that they need. And so have a plan in place for guiding them forward, whether it is another course or a community that you manage and you want to drive them toward, or even if it's just a partner program so that they can tell their friends about the course, right? But there should be some sort of plan or strategy in place for what you would like to have happen when people complete the course. And so by planning those ahead of time, you're more likely to create an overall positive experience because you'll have fewer surprises, and so you have a plan for anticipating their needs rather than needing to pivot and respond as they arise. Okay, step 11, deep exhale. This is where you get to design your marketing and advertising strategy. So there's obviously many layers to this, and you could talk to any number of experts who have their preferred approach for this. So I don't pretend to have all of the answers here, but what I will say is this. Number one, you should launch to the people who are on your wait list. You should launch to the portion of your audience for whom this course might be a good fit. You should talk about it on your different social channels. You should create whatever buzz and excitement you can, because I have no doubt you are proud of this course and you believe it will serve people. And if those things are true, then you should get it in front of as many people as you can. If you have a network of partners, come up with a way to let them share it as well. And if people are signing up, or if people are on your wait list, you should invite them to help share the word as well. Use the network around you to get this course in front of as many people as possible, because that initial launch period is an opportunity that you want to make the most of, right? You've done all of the work in creating this. It is time to reap the rewards. If this is your first digital course, it's an exciting time because you get to experience the magic, which is automated delivery and being paid multiple times for work that you did once. I'm not saying creating a digital course is easy. It is actually very much not the case. But the beauty of creating something that is automated or is virtual is that once you have done the work, there is no limit to how many times you can drive people toward it, and the fulfillment should scale with minimal effort on your part to maintain it. So that is the payoff here. Is as powerful as I believe education is, there is a special layer where virtual education allows you to really have a multiplicative effect on the people that you can serve. So that initial launch window is important. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you choose to discount it for people, if you choose to offer a discount for people who sign up early, which you are more than welcome to, here is my recommendation. Treat it as a trade-off. If you offer them a discount, it is because they are doing you a favor by testing the course out, by helping you identify opportunities to improve it, by helping you iron out wrinkles, right? That's my mentality. I don't pretend to have all the answers, but rather than just discount it for discount's sake, I often like to position it as a tester group or a beta group who is doing me a favor by signing up for it. And I believe that. I believe that first cohort of people that go into it are doing just that, are testing it out, are kicking the tires on it, and are helping you find those initial, snags or opportunities to make something clearer, right? So if you choose to discount it, that's my recommendation, is to treat it as a trade-off. Beyond that, once the initial launch window is over, and don't get me wrong, launching is an art form in and to itself. There are plenty of courses and experts and resources out there that will help you learn all sorts of tactics and strategies for launching. So that's not a strength of mine, so I'm not gonna dive too deep or pretend to know more than I do on that topic. Just know that it is an entire industry unto itself. But once the launch window is completed, you should have a plan for whether you wanna have an open cart strategy or a closed cart strategy for this course. Open cart means that it is available at all times, that people can buy whenever they stumble onto your website, right? That's the way the Monkeypod courses are. They are always available and people can sign up when the need strikes. But not everybody treats their courses that way. Some people have a closed cart strategy where they open the course at different times of year and do a launch each time that they open. So maybe it's one launch a year, or maybe it's two, or maybe it's four. And I'm not saying there is a right or wrong way. The open cart strategy allows my customers to buy whenever they want, but the closed cart strategy allows the facilitator of the course to provide a more involved or hands-on approach to serving, because they know when people are going to be participating in the course, and then they know when the doors are going to be closed. So it's a much more concerted effort during those launch windows. And whichever route you choose, it should be intentional. So I like to lay those options out because it will, of course, inform your strategy in between. If it's evergreen, if it's always open, you'll have ads running, you'll have content marketing driving people there, your partners can be promoting it, and then of course that's not the case if it is a closed cart, where you have to be a little more judicious about when traffic is going there, about what you're focusing on at different times, depending on where you are in the launch season or cycle or whatever terminology they use. So guys, those are the 11 steps. Let me recap them for you here. Number one, focus on or decide on the problem you are solving. Number two is figure out who the audience is that has that problem. Number three is design the course curriculum, what will take them from point A to point Z or B or whatever points you're driving them between. Design the launch strategy and the wait list. Design that early so that you can start building interest and building an audience as you tease content out throughout the process of creating it, which is step 5. Record the course content and trend toward smaller videos as you do. Of course, you need to edit that course content. And then number 6 is to map out the course delivery and the fulfillment process. Number 7 is to build the site, add the content, and create the automation. And then number 8, test it. Even get your coworkers, your colleagues, your friends and family to get in there and test it with you. Number 9 is to design the feedback and survey loop. Number 10 is to think through the support strategy for the actual course itself, as well as after the course, what it is that they might do next. And the final step, number 11, is to design the marketing and ad strategy. So I know there is a lot there. I am certain that there is plenty that I missed, but I hope that this framework serves you as a jumping off point to make an imposing or ambiguous process feel a little more achievable. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear what I might have missed. If you have digital courses you have launched in the past, I'd love to hear your experience with that. Or if you take this framework and you're able to follow it, I'd love to see what you come up with. That is it for now. Thanks for hanging out with me here today. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, of course, drop them below the video. Otherwise, I will catch you on the flip. Take care.